Greetings. Just a real quick video. I want to get some things out. I've just kind of discovered through some research. Things that I have been things that I've been saying is that it seemed real important for the whole, American industry, including the media, intelligence, operations, biopharmaceutical companies, that and social media, big data, big tech, seemed real important to all of them that we all believed that there were no effective treatments for COVID 19. It was just real important that we were just left helpless. No anything that could work, focused protection, early treatment options. Any information about that was really suppressed. And some of the research I'm doing is directly confirming that, and it goes back before the pandemic for sure. I've kind of been looking at like sort of 2015 as a big transitional year, 2016, but even in 2010, there's this company called Solara Genomics with Craig Ventnor. He was working on synthetic genomics and gain of function research, combining those two. And what he was really talking about is developing sustainable, ongoing revenue models based on things that they would design, new viruses that they would design. And if I can just find this quote by him, he said that on his computer, he had bragged that he could develop a self-replicating species uh, whose parent is a computer, private biotech computer used to create a new virus using synthetic genomics. Um, Pharma wants to cash in massively on diseases and the new therapies for those diseases, and made possible by also tech breakthroughs. And and then so fast forward, you've got a fusion with finance, big finance. Um, Goldman Sachs in 2018 issues this report. They have this report, and in it, they kind of take a look at Gilead's work on hepatitis C and a medicine that they had created for hepatitis C. And they say that it's unfortunate how effective the medicine was against hepatitis C, because it kind of basically killed the market for the remedy, right? And so they're just admitting this out in the open, and it's crazy. And it blatantly asks in the report. It says, "Is curing uh, is curing patients a sustainable business model?" So they, in the report, they actually say they don't want one-shot cures or therapies that may diminish recurring revenue. Um, so they're looking for sustained cash flows, right? That means sick people or people that get things that can't be cured. They love HIV and the way that went. It was never really kind of cured. People have to keep taking things. It's real expensive. And so a lot of the aspects of our biopharmaceutical industry in our world lately are driven not, of course, in the interest of patients, but in the interest of capitalism. And so uh, they say your success in treatment will gradually exhaust the available pool of treatable patients. Curing existing patients also decreases the number of carriers able to transmit the virus to new patients. So, again, the idea is never to have a cure, not to cure, for them just to control expensive remedies. And so this is something that's just, it's out in the open. You can find it. It's not conspiracy theory, crazy talk. And it was, we've seen it in play in most of our response to COVID-19. And so we need to really get on this. They love cancer. They're talking about cancer because you got to, where you have an incident pool remain stable in terms of cancer, the potential for a cure poses less risk to the sustainability of the franchise. It's amazing. It's amazing what's going on here. And it's a fusion, what you're, when you see the global finance, military intelligence, biopharmaceutical corporations. Okay. I also been mentioning during the pandemic that the pandemic is being used to increase social control by the global surveillance state. And I found out, I looked, and there is, in fact, this global, this kind of or commercial cloud enterprise. Okay, so the CIA mid pandemic announced it had awarded its commercial cloud enterprise, C2E, on behalf of 17 intelligence agencies to just 5 companies: Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Oracle, IBM. I'm leaving one out. Anyway, transnational capital, dependent on a global war economy, in turn relies on perpetual state organized war marketing, social control, and repression, and is driven by new digital technologies. The surveillance powers applied for by the pandemic became normalized and repurposed for heightened political control and corporate dominance through the emerging state corporate surveillance complex. So this is crazy. This is going on. Of course, you remember Gilead had made remdesivir during the pandemic, and President Trump famously took remdesivir, and the World Health Organization announced that remdesivir might be a successful treatment for uh, COVID-19. So that's why ivermectin had to be turned into a horse dewormer. You couldn't use ivermectin. You couldn't use hydroxychloroquine. These out of patent cheap remedies that the world could use to actually treat itself and save people. They had to suppress those in order to promote the ability to control new emergent remedies that they were working on and could control and patent, namely remdesivir. And so in 2020, after that, the stock just shot up like crazy, right? And this is mentioned also in the Goldman Sachs report. Well, not the report of 2018, but anyway, it's amazing what's going on. Our intelligence agencies have created this sort of public-private partnership with biopharma firms, with big tech firms. The pandemic was actually used to increase and normalize their control, use of surveillance technology. Now I think they're going to be rolling out more digital currency and trying to encourage the use of digital currency, trying to discourage the use of fiat currency here in the United States. This is all happening. I'm not being alarmist. It's happening. It's underway, uh, and we need to push back on it. We need our own tech platforms. We need our own independent media more than ever, and we need a new health industry. We need a health industry that's really focused on treating us, helping us, not on making profit or scaring us. And what I saw during the pandemic is that all across the spectrum of healthcare options, they all bought into the fear. And none of them were saying, hey, Jeff, by the way, if someone in your family ends up getting the scary thing, COVID-19, there's things you can do. Call us right away. And we're going to get you early treatment options to save your family, save people, right? Don't be afraid. Be empowered. That would be such a better message. Something that sort of like the progressives and the Democrats used to be a part of. Well, not anymore. They're not. And so that's sad. We need people who are. I don't care if they're right, left, center, independents, whatever they are. We need people that are just giving you this message that yes, there are things we can do, and problems are going to be coming down. Like I said, this new level of control, this new level of surveillance that was afforded to these companies during the pandemic, it's not going away. They're not relaxing. I went over to the public library today. It's 2023. There's no really COVID's kind of, it's not so deadly. Nothing's really happening in terms of the virus front. Everybody's still wearing their mask, and they're enforcing a mask policy inside the public library. You're sitting there by yourself 10 feet away from everybody. They still want you to have a mask on. So the psychological operation is still working, still getting people, right? They're wearing a mask for no reason, sitting there 10 feet apart from each other. And the bureaucrats at the library are ready to enforce it. And so this is still going on. Psychological operation is still going on. Nobody's busted out and spoken out about how much the public health system failed, spent all the money on PR, advertising on behalf of Pfizer and Gilead and Moderna and stuff like that. None of the money was spent on us actually treating us, helping us. And so we need to push back on that. We need to get control of that. And so far we haven't. So far nobody's pushing for it. Instead they're falling for all these little traps. Some billionaire bad boy buys a media platform and fires a bunch of people that are really affiliated with the FBI. And instead of people championing that, oh God, he's bad. Oh, he's racist. Oh, it's like Stormy Daniels' breast and all this stuff, all these like fake remedies to things. There are tragedies happening as a result of the breakdown of our society and the collapse of this empire. So when there's when there's like mass shootings, people, what do they cry for? They don't cry for, God, we need more economic sustainability in this community. We need a better sense of community in this community. We need healthier economy, less polarization, stuff like that. No, they don't talk about any of that. What they talk about is let's instate this red flag law, that maybe somebody's going to say that there's going to be a state power to go around and preemptively determine who gets to have a gun and who doesn't, while at the same time we allow our police to be more militarized than ever. After police murder of black youth and blacks on their streets, people don't call to demilitarize the police. They instead call for this pipe dream of defund the police, which ultimately becomes kind of disempowering and weird and backfires. Maybe demilitarize the police would have been a better thing to call for. So we got to get smarter. We got to figure out what's going on, and quit labeling people as conspiracy theorists when they say, "Hey, gee, these we're waiting around for a miracle vaccine." Which, 1 minute we have MSNBC telling us as soon as we take the vaccine, disease stops there, and then the next week, oh God, look, it doesn't really. The vaccines we bought don't really work, do they? But everyone has to take it. It's mental crazy, and people need to see that. We could have been just taking an attenuated whole virus vaccine the whole time and using monoclonal antibodies like the rich people did. Could have made that available for lots of people. We could have been using, zinc and the Zelenko protocol just to help people, save people, focus protection. Instead, we went along with a big PR campaign to vilify ivermectin. And then, oh, what do you know? Look, now Gilead has this thing, maybe works. It's real expensive. Oh, now look, Pfizer has one, Paxlovid, that works. So we told you there are no early treatments for COVID. It's just so crazy and scary. But oh, look, now that the corporations that control everything have one, we're willing to support it. So we got to get smarter. We got to get transcend this corporate takeover by this surveillance, public-private partnership, surveillance state, corporate state that has taken over. The thing that Chris Hedges was talking about, the creeping corporate coup and all that, it's not just rhetoric. It's happened. And now it's kicking into really high gear. The digital net that's enclosing around us is almost completely closed. And you don't have much time left to exercise your free speech now, or never. Get it together now. Quit infighting. Quit talking bad smack about conspiracy theories and start reading about some of them.